Hola amigos y amigas, bienvenidos a este espacio. Estamos nuevamente acompañados por un actor del mundo de la lucha libre y esta vez se trata de Gio, ring announcer y comentarista de diferentes empresas. Lo hemos visto en la escena europea en muchos lugares y recientemente ocupando un lugar en Japón en el Año Nuevo, en Pro Wrestling Noah y en Marigold. Welcome Gio, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to speak to you again. Last time I saw you, I think we were enjoying a succulent Chinese meal in Otter City after that Marigold show. I think it's the last time I saw you.
Yeah, it was quite a wild night, if I can say that.
Yeah, it was. Lots of surprises, and I just keep thinking about the food. It was so good. They really treat us well in Japan. It's nicer than the post-show spoons you get over here in the UK. But both are fun. But I'm a big fan of Chinese food and Japanese food.
Yeah, that was really cool. Now, I invited you here to discuss a little bit about you, wrestling wise, your personal life. You've been very active, especially the last few years when we left the COVID or pandemic era. And with, like you mentioned, we last saw each other in Japan, which is crazy. And I want to start, where it literally began for you. So, when and why you started in pro wrestling?
My journey into pro wrestling started in February 2016. I turned 20 and I was just in that sort of that in between phase of life where I was like, okay, um, I can't think of a single job I want to do that isn't something I'm really passionate about. And I'd been a fan of wrestling since I was 10 years old. And I thought, look, I'm just gonna give it a go. If it's one of those things that doesn't work out, at least I can say I tried. If I don't try, I will just regret for the rest of my life that I didn't even attempt it. So, I was delusional enough to think that I'd be a world-class wrestler. I'd get signed to WWE and win the WWE Championship. But you have to be an elite athlete, an elite wrestler to do that. And I was none of those things. I was lucky to even get one booking. A big thanks to all the promotions that did book me. I hope I was satisfactory enough, and the fans didn't leave the building feeling like they were robbed. So yeah, I started out as a trainee, as a wrestler. Wrestled in some venues that I really can't believe I got to wrestle in. I took some time off eventually with a back and neck injury, which still bothers me to this day. But during my time off, I wanted to stay active, so I was still at training sessions, at shows, and then it was in 2016. We had an in-house training show, so just a bunch of the trainees having very short matches against each other. But the school was linked to Progress, so John Briley, who was the owner at the time, was down giving people feedback. And just before the show started, I got pulled aside and asked if I could, host the show. I mean, it wasn't a show, and I didn't have a microphone, but I just did a good job of hosting it. I did it properly, as if it was the real thing. And at the end of the night, John Briley pulled me aside and said, "We're doing this new project starting in a couple of weeks. It's called Freedom's Road. I don't want to host it. Jim doesn't want to travel all the way down from Manchester. Would you like to host it?" And of course, I just jumped at the chance and said yes. So, my first pro ring announcing job was for Progress Wrestling, which is insane. And I must have done a good job because they invited me back to do the next set of Freedom's Road tapings. And from there, I was lucky enough to get into Rev Pro, thanks to Kevin Kelly in New York, gave me a glowing recommendation and review after I did a New Japan / Rev Pro Super Show as part of WrestleCon. And yeah, from there, that obviously snowballed into getting the chance to do the Royal Quest shows in the UK, which, to this day, top 3 proudest moments of my career. And yeah, as you said at the start, I've also branched more into commentary, which I'm really feeling more and more comfortable by the day. I did a lot of my commentary with WrestleForce, and then that transitioned into doing Rev Pro commentary full time at one point. And yeah, it's been a busy couple of years for sure, but this year especially, the first 4 months, I barely have time to sit down at the moment, so it's nice to be. I'm not even standing at the moment. I'm not even sitting at the moment. This is a standing desk, so I'm not even sitting down right now. But I'm just very grateful that promotions give me these opportunities, and that fans and my colleagues online give me such glowing reviews, recommendations, and feedback. And I'm just gonna keep calling wrestling until the wheels fall off, I guess.
Very cool. You've been doing a lot of stuff. You did something that it's kind of hard for some people, doing the transition from trying to be a wrestler to do another position in the wrestling business. Because most of the time when people want to do pro wrestling, they want to be wrestlers. They want to be stars, like you mentioned. It's like in the past, the dream was, okay, I want to be signed by WWE, I want to be on TV, now on streaming platforms. But you got the opportunity and you deliver. So now we're here. You've mentioned you've done commentary for Repro and other promotions. You have done ring announcing for Progress from New Japan, like you mentioned. Noah, commentary for Marigold. And you also have done some gigs as manager with your good friend Connor Mills. So how was that experience, working with a close friend of yours?
That was so creatively satisfying and just so fun to do. It really almost was perfect, because it was kind of like the perfect marriage between satisfying like the old itches and cravings to be an in-ring wrestler, and then my skills with a microphone in my hand. And it's a shame it ended prematurely, and I don't think we had the chance to really explore the full scope of the possibilities. But the short time we were together, I think we produced some really good work. I remember our second appearance at Pro Wrestling Chaos. We were getting booed so loudly that we genuinely couldn't hear each other. And so I just kept restarting the promo to rile the fans up more. And I need to go back and remember what this guy said, but one guy was so furious that I'd insulted the ring announcer, the lovely Jade, that he stood up and was effing and jeffing, and spit was flying out his mouth. So I did him a favor in return, and I just did one big long drool of spit right onto the Chaos logo. And Dave Bradshaw on commentary was going absolutely crazy, just calling us scumbags and swine. And when we got to the back, everyone was just looking at us like this and saying that might be the second loudest booing we've ever heard in this building, because Chaos is this wonderful promotion. It's like its own little ecosystem. The fans love who they love, and as soon as you go after someone who they hold dear to their heart, and especially as we were sort of outsiders, they really did not take to that. So I'd put that up there as one of the proudest moments of my career, is getting booed that loudly. It's something I would like to explore again, but never say never.
Okay, Bristol, before I say what I actually came out here to say, I haven't cleared this with the boys in the back, with management in the back, but I've known Jade Walford for many years now, and Bristol, how lovely is it to see her back in a Pro Wrestling Chaos ring?
That would be really cool. And now we also have been seeing Mills working with Nico Angelo, which is another friend of yours, with whom you have also history, and he's been working with one of your projects, which is Ichiban, and we will be going further with that in a moment. But first, I want to close with this first big experience re-announcing for New Japan in the Royal Quest shows. So how was your experience working with them?
It was unforgettable. So if I cast my mind back to that first Royal Quest, at that point in my life, by far the biggest show I'd ever done in my career. I believe it was 7,500 people in the Copper Box. New Japan's first fully produced show in the UK. I remember being so incredibly nervous all morning, all the way up until first bell. During the show, you know, I was doing a good job and I felt more confident as time went by, but you know, it was such a multifaceted thing, you know, because it's such a professional production. It was being live streamed. I was being micromanaged. I know a lot of people use the word micromanaged negatively, but I don't mean it here. I just mean there was so much going on. You know, there's the time calls, recording the results, getting the results back to backstage for the write-up. All this going on while you're keeping track of timings and just making sure that you're clear and enunciated in everything you do. And then I remember it got to the main event, and it was sort of, I think the decision kept being changed all day as to whether I would do an in-ring introduction for the main event, because there was, you know, concerns about time constraints, and there was, oh, you know, we don't really do that in Japan, so we wouldn't do it here. But I'm very grateful that in the end, it was decided I would do the in-ring introductions. And as the video package was playing for before the main event, they opened up the barricade. I walked into the ring, and for the first time all day, I just took a deep breath, and I stood in the corner of the New Japan ring and just looked around, took some deep breaths and took it all in, and then suddenly just all my anxiety went away, and I just felt so proud and confident. And to this day, I think that's probably the best in-ring introduction I've ever done. And Robin, Beyond Gorilla, is just such a pro. He got these fantastic snaps of me, and I think before they'd even finished the match, I think before Okada retained in that fantastic match against Suzuki, Robin had already sent me the photos and went like, here you go, man, put these up. So once the show was over, I put those up, and just the outpouring of love and support I got from you know, colleagues, family, friends, and fans was just so wonderful. And it felt like, you know, validation that, you know, I'd made the right choice, you know, when I turned 20, putting all my eggs in the wrestling basket. Because if you don't enjoy what you do, you'll just feel like you're working for the rest of your life. So it felt like validation that taking this gamble in something as niche and difficult as pro wrestling, and yeah, maybe my dreams of being an in-ring competitor were delusional, but that was validation that the transition to being a ring announcer was paying off. And then, you know, being able to put that on my CV going forward, and having that footage of me announcing Okada versus Suzuki for the IWGP title in London, really, that's the point where my career started to just skyrocket. And I'll forever be grateful, you know, to President Sugabayashi, Rocky Romero, everyone who made that happen that day.
A great experience, and something that you will be remembering forever in your life. Now I want to go to your other ventures in wrestling. You have two projects. One, Pro Wrestling Ceasefire, which is pro wrestling for a good cause. You know, you guys, if I'm not wrong, it's a project you have with Chuck Mambo.
Yeah, so the team at the moment, I say at the moment, the team is myself, Chuck Mambo, Bo Bells, Charlie Jameson, and we also have the wonderful Zuby and Mobina at all our shows as well. So they do a lot of work with Friends of Al-Aqsa. We're always staying in touch, and it's a really enjoyable and fulfilling project. But there's no way it would work if one of those people dropped out. You know, it started as an idea between me and Mambo, but as soon as we brought Bo and Charlie on board, and Mambo very early on said we should include Zuby in this and his wife, it became very clear that it works at its best when all six of us are involved. So I'm very grateful to everyone in the team. And we're currently sitting at £3,500 raised so far. Still blows me away, the reception to the first show, because there was a point where Mambo and I put the tickets on sale, and we went, if no one comes to this is just going to be such a disappointment, because we had such high hopes for it and we really thought it would be a good thing. But we were blown away, and we're really happy that that's the way All In Weekend kicked off. And I'm looking forward again to this year's one.
It's great. You also have a show coming in May, right?
Yeah, Thursday, 22nd of May. It's our fourth event. The card so far includes Charlie Evans versus Emerson Jane, Malik versus Gio Joshua, and Diamond Eyes, Nico Angelo and Connor Mills versus Kanji and Jordan Breaks. So, we're very lucky that we have just such top talent on these cards, donating their time and being very generous and allowing us to use them for these shows. So, don't be put off by the term charity show. I know a lot of people immediately, they hear charity, they think cheap and cheerful, but these shows are anything but. We've got top talent in a lovely venue in central London, and the beers are 2 for £7. So it really is such a fantastic series of events we put on, and I'm glad it raises so much money for charity.
Yeah, might be the best value for tickets I've seen in a while. Also, this is a fun fact. I went to the first Ceasefire show. I was live in there, and I was originally planning to arrive in London that week on Friday, but I changed my flight for Thursday to arrive early for that show. And honestly, that first Kanji versus Giorgio Breaks was one of the best matches I got to watch that weekend at least. And you had such a stacked cards that week, and you imagine that when you put that on perspective, when you see an indie show, like you mentioned, so cheap that people tend to confuse, charity for maybe that is not the best quality you might see, but you guys deliver an amazing show. So
thank you, man. I really appreciate that. That's so kind of you. And yeah, that first Kanji Jordan match, I still think about it to this day. All three matches have been spectacular, but that first one, I think it was, the energy of a sold out room coupled with the sort of, that awkward vibe where it's a first show from a new company in a new building taking a big gamble. So there's that sort of pressure to stick the landing. But, Kanji and Jordan Breaks, everyone knows how fantastic they are. So I wouldn't expect anything less from putting them in the ring together. But being able to put that match on and provide the commentary for it and be so up close to it, I mean, I genuinely think it's the best British match that happened that year. And they did it 2 more times. And you can watch all those matches on YouTube now. It's a fantastic trilogy, and it's a love letter to British wrestling.
London, it is now time for your New Japan Pro Wrestling Royal Quest 3 main event! The following contest is a singles match set for 1 fall. With a 60-minute time limit, and it is for the IWGP United Kingdom Heavyweight Championship! When the bell rings, the referee in charge, senior official, Red Shoes, Uno! Introducing first, in the blue corner, the challenger. Hailing from the Isle of Sheppey, he is the first and reigning NJPW World Television Champion, the frontman of TMDK, Zack Sabre Jr. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, from Raynham in Essex, representing the United Empire, he is the 18th reigning and defending IWGP United Kingdom Heavyweight Champion, the Aerial Assassin, Will Ospreay!
Now going to other of your projects, which just started less than 2 months ago. Ichiban Puroresu UK, Igirisu. It's an ongoing project. You have a show this weekend, but the first show had the big main event of having the honor of held the last Meiko Satomura match in the UK. So, can you tell us more about this project and how did that happen? Getting to book Meiko Satomura for your first show.
So, Ichiban is a collaborative effort. It's something I have been working on for quite a while, but I was always looking for the right people to collaborate with and the right companies to have on board. So while I was in Japan, as well as the bookings I had with Noah and Marigold and seeing friends and catching up with New Japan, I was also there to work and scout and meet. And being at these Japanese shows and just seeing the love and respect and effort that goes into every element of the craft, it was just something I wanted to take back with me. So I had plans for a similar project before I went out to Japan, but while I was in Japan, the vision changed. And I just thought, every little thing here matters, and it builds up and you get this wonderful end result. So I wanted to take that back to the UK, and I also had meetings with various people. So when I got back to the UK, I started working on it, and then the opportunity to work with Meiko presented itself. But really had some time constraints on it. So she was only in the UK for a very limited time. Obviously, Progress had her on the Sunday, and she had a fantastic match against Rio. I was very happy to be in the building for that. And she was doing some training seminars with Hustle, and obviously visiting friends she had over here. So we were very limited in time. So we knew we could really only run the show on the Monday. Then comes trying to find a venue worthy of hosting the final match of the legend Satomura. You can't have Meiko Satomura's final UK match in a community hall or a leisure centre. So it had to be a grandiose, beautiful building. So, myself and Hustle, I think we spent like a week back and forth on the phone, looking and scouting and searching and sending each other pictures and rundowns. We looked at so many venues. And then, so Kingston Prism, it's been on my doorstep for years. It's somewhere I have embarrassedly spent many a drunken evening in. But it's had this £1 million refurbishment. And as an events venue, they have a partnership with Banquet Records in Kingston, and they've had some fantastic artists there. Off the top of my head, The Streets, I think Bring Me the Horizon have done a show there, Architects have done a show there recently. Just the production, as you can see from the photos and videos and from live accounts of people, the production is next to none. So it turns out we could use the Prism on the Monday night, and then came the logistics. Okay, let's get the hire together, we've got to get a ticket site going, we've got to get talent going. So I think all in all we had about 4 weeks to promote this show. And, it's a hard sell because, British wrestling fans have been burnt before with these promotions that have these big promises that they can't deliver on, or they offer you the world and they shut down after the first show or after 2 shows and leave you burnt. So there was this thing of being able to host such a marquee match with Meiko Satomura in the main event, and in a fantastic match, with Rain Leverkusen, Millie McKenzie, Nina Samuels, top 3 women, not just women, top 3 wrestlers in the UK. But, we had to sell it to the public. Okay, yes, we're a new promotion. Yes, it's on a Monday night. Yes, it's in Zone 6, but trust us, it will be worth it. And the reception we got from the event, not just from all the 200 plus in attendance, not just from the people online, it's all been so positive, and I'm so happy with how it came off. But that show could not have happened without the help from Progress Wrestling, we have to thank Hustle Wrestling, we have to thank Itsuki Yamamoto from Japan, we have to thank Emu, who did all the translating and liaising for us. Again, it was a real collaborative effort. So Ichiban, it's not just me, it's a whole team of people that are really passionate about presenting top level wrestling and bringing elements of puroresu from Japan over to the UK. So if you come and see a show in person, you'll see all these little details add up, and that's how you end up with Ichiban.
That's cool. I hope I get to be there live at least once. Now going back to Japan, which was also an inspiration for this new vision that you put in the product. You got to start the new year literally with Noah the New Year. You made your debut in Pro Wrestling Noah, another of the major promotions in Japan and in the world, one of the most respected ones. So how was your experience with Noah, and how did that came to be?
So it came to be from attending the London stop of their UK tour, which was fantastic. So while I was there, I had the chance to meet with a few people very briefly. My friend Emu was very good at introducing me to all the people. They knew of me because of the work I did with New Japan. So, having that link with, the biggest Japanese company, such a big Japanese company, proved that I was already in a position where I was familiar with, the differences between announcing for a UK promotion and announcing for a Japanese promotion. So I think, that already had me on the radar. So then the show was in September. I believe I got the offer in or maybe October or November, one of those months. And so as soon as I knew that, I was familiar with the Noah product, but to be a ring announcer for a company of that level, you need to really know it, more inside and out. So I used to meet up with Emu a couple times a month with like a clipboard and a noteboard, and I was going over the pronunciations, making sure I had everything correct, learning little bits of Japanese to get me by, backstage and around. And doing that first show with them, to be trusted with sort of no rehearsal, just right, this is our biggest show of the year. It's got WWE United States Champion Shinsuke Nakamura on it. It's being broadcast live. The Great Muta is sitting 10 feet away from you. Here you go. I was very honored that they trusted me with such a high-profile job on my first night. And if you go back and watch the whole show, I am disturbingly visible throughout the whole show. The hard cam is pointed right at my face. It's impossible not to see me. And it was such a fantastic show, top to bottom. I think maybe the best show I've seen in my life in person. And I say I saw it, I was part of it. And at one point, I got quite up close and personal with Dagger when he flipped over me and Okuda-san's table. But it was such a great experience. The whole Noah team in front of the camera and behind are just so professional. It is a well-oiled machine. I haven't seen anything like it. And a particular shout out as well to Stuart Fulton and Mark Pickering, who gave me such fantastic advice to be part of the broadcast team. Stu stays in touch with me to this day, keeps me in the loop and keeps me up to date. Yeah, and the backstage bento boxes, I have to talk about these. Just the best catering I've ever had at a show. Chicken karage in every box. But yeah, that Budokan show was unreal. And then the next day, straight into the New Year reboot in Shinjuku Face. Much more intimate venue, but the energy was still there. Again, just to be trusted to do that is not something I take lightly, and I'm so grateful for it. And getting to do Kurikan Hall the week after is, it feels like a dream. One day you're commentating. One day you're announcing at a village hall in a town name in the UK, I can't even remember, in front of 15 people with no voice, and just thinking, why do I put myself through this? And sort of having these doubts. And then you blink and you're in Kurikan Hall, showing Shuji Kondo a message on your phone that you've Google translated going, hello, Mr. Kondo, I am a big fan. I used to copy your moves on the trampoline. I'm such a big Shuji Kondo fan. I've started talking about it on Twitter now. I hope he doesn't see it and wants me to keep away from him. But yeah, to get to work in Noah for a company that I've been a fan of since I was a kid. My brother and I, obviously, the first thing we fell in love with was WWE. And, you know, for a long time, we just thought WWE was wrestling. We didn't know about other companies. The first wrestling we saw that wasn't WWE was Noah, but I didn't know it was called Noah. I just called it that Japanese promotion with the green mat. I discovered it through, do you remember Suicidal Dragon on YouTube? He used to do those top 10 videos of like the indies and Noah. I discovered it through that. So to be in Kurikan Hall, a venue I've only ever seen on, you know, 480p quality Google video streams, watching Suicidal Dragon, top 10 moves of Shuji Kondo, to then be meeting him and announcing him to the ring, was a really proud and surreal moment. So I'm so thankful to Wrestle Universe and Cyberfight and Pro Wrestling Noah for giving me the opportunity. And I hope it's not too long before I go back to Japan, because I am craving some more backstage chicken karage.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
That's great. It's so cool that you had the chance to experience different venues. Like you mentioned, the scale is different, but the crowds, they always are so into the action. It doesn't matter if there's only 200 people or if there's like over 5,000 like in Nippon Budokan. And also you had the chance to be at a sold-out Korakuen Hall after the Osawa shock, which also had the last Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. match in Pro Wrestling Noah, so it was already an emotional show with a stock card, and you know you had the chance to be there, and also it's very, very cool, you know, when you have been growing up watching this on, like you mentioned, YouTube videos, low quality, and you get to experience that live there, you know, the real deal. It's so cool.
Yeah, that was the most beautiful thing for me. It was physically being present in a building that I thought I'd only ever see on TV, you know. I never even thought I'd go to Japan as a holiday destination, let alone being there for work. And to be, yeah, and like you said, to have my voice be the soundtrack of these huge moments. Ozawa winning the title, as much of a shock as it was, the crowd were so, I think, thrilled by the result, because it seemed unreal. Someone like Ozawa, who 6 months ago was, you know, sort of, an anonymous young boy up and coming, to just suddenly be this insane rebel who the crowd just are falling in love with his crazy antics. And then, to announce the final match of El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. in Noah, and also the shock of the Team 2000X recruiting new members and dethroning Manabu Sawyer at Kurikan Hall. I got to announce a title change in Kurikan Hall. That's great. And I got to announce the new GHC heavyweight champion in Nippon Budokan. Just blows my mind. But, you know, the Noah product right now, I think, is the hottest it's ever been. And, Kenta coming home, really. Because when people think of Kenta, they think of Noah. They think of him and Marufuji in the 2000s and 2010s just beating the crap out of each other on that beautiful green canvas. So I think, we're going to see a real resurgence of Pro Wrestling Noah this year. And I'm glad my voice got to be a part of some big moments this year.
And introducing his opponent, he is the WWE United States Champion, Shinsuke Nakamura!
Now going to other promotion that you got to work with in Japan, which is Marigold. You got this gig with Wrestle Universe. You did commentary for 2 matches, if I remember correctly. So how did that went to be?
So that was part of the same discussion as to me coming over to do Noah. Noah and Marigold, both part of the Wrestle Universe family. So I ended up going over and I did commentary for the opening Rumble, which was a lot of fun and really nice for me because Nightshade was in that match, and Nightshade is someone who I met right when I started training in 2016, so I've known her for 9 years, and we had a nice moment after the show where we were reminiscing about some of the crap towns and crap venues and crap people we've worked for. So for us to be, it was also the first time I'd seen her in maybe like 2 and a bit years. Yeah, I think first time I'd seen her in 2 years. So, you know, we were saying how funny it was to be meeting up for the first time in 2 years at a sold out Marigold show in Tokyo. So that was a really nice moment. And I had a really positive experience doing commentary. I got to call the Twin Star title change, Bozilla and Tank, unseating Dark Wolf Army, Chiaki and Nagisa Nozaki. That was a hell of a match as well. Tank was my first time meeting her, but I know her trainer very well, Tankwa from Pro Wrestling Holland. If you're in Holland or you ever happen to be in Holland at the same time they're running a show, PWH, hell of a company, great people run it, really fun, and I think they're just about to run their biggest show ever, actually. I just saw an announcement from them, so really happy for them. Good things happening to good people, please support them. And yeah, again, I was alongside Stu Fulton at the table. I actually called both those matches with Sonny Gold, who gave me some great advice. Two really knowledgeable guys, man. They, know so much about the wrestlers, not just, their accomplishments and, their bios, but they know so much about them out the ring as well. And I think that was a big difference I noticed between English and Japanese, English commentary in England and English commentary in Japan, is that in Japan, there's way more color. The fans, they want to know everything about their favorite wrestler, inside and outside the ring. Even most Japanese wrestling companies on their roster pages, they list the wrestler's blood type. The fans want to know everything about the wrestlers. So that was a really positive experience. The Marigold locker room is really tight knit. They've got a really high ceiling, I think. They're really good at spotting talent early on. But also just the roster is so stacked at the high end, that main event, I already knew how good Utami and Sari were, but never seen them work in person. So that main event blew my mind. Sari just is professional wrestling. That's a God-given talent. And Utami Hayashishita, fantastic, really fierce. She's going to be someone who carries Marigold throughout this year. And again, just really, really grateful I got to spend so much time with them and work with them. And, those are some talents I'd love to see working in the UK more, I know. It's a shocker. The only time Sari's worked in the UK is for NXT UK. So I'd love to see her, at a promotion like Ichiban. Maybe that's something that can be worked towards. And Utami as well. Love to see her over here. Yeah, Marigold, a company that people should be keeping their eyes on.
That's cool. We actually saw Sari last year in the UK, but she went with Sukeban, which is not like the classic Sari. It's another gimmick, another character, because it's a different
You're
product.
Right. And I was there in person. I can't believe I forgot that. You are right, though, yes. God,
Yeah.
that was
She wrestled
that was a fun
Arisa
show,
Nakajima.
Yeah, that was a really fun show. How did I forget that? I saw her in person, but yeah. Good times.
Well, maybe you confused her. It was a different gimmick, a different name. It was Sari Boom. Sari Boom. Not Sari.
Yeah, they got me. They worked me.
Okay, now also while you were in Japan, you got to watch wrestling shows. If I remember correctly, you were at the Tokyo Dome for one of those shows, and you got
Both
to
nights, actually. I saw both nights of Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty, and that was another bucket list thing as well, just to see the Tokyo Dome in person. And Gabe Kidd, someone who I have a lot of time for. Funny story about Gabe. I think I've told this story a few times before, but way back in 2019, when he first went out to Japan and he had to get his visa or his traveling documents from the embassy. Obviously, he lives in Nottingham. Japanese embassy is in London, only about 45 minutes from me. And we'd done a show in Southampton the night before, and Gabe was like sort of not panicking backstage, but he was going like, man, I have no idea what to do. I've got to be at the embassy tomorrow in London, but like I'm going back to Nottingham tonight. So, you know, I'm going to go all the way from Southampton to Nottingham, and then I have to be back in London for 11. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I said, look, man, just come stay around mine. I'll drop you at the station in the morning. You go to the embassy. He was so grateful. So he stayed around mine. I dropped him off at the station in the morning. I get a text message from him at like 11:05, a couple hours later, and it's a selfie of him in front of the embassy front door with a paper sign that says "Embassy unexpectedly closed today." So he had to go all the way back to Nottingham and then come back. And actually, on my third or fourth night in Japan, Gabe landed from the UK, and he literally landed, dumped his bags in the hotel, gave me a call and said, "I'm taking you out to dinner, man. It's your first time in Japan. Let me take you out." So I've got a lot of time for Gabe, lovely guy. And then I got to see him steal the whole effing week with that match against Kenny Omega. I can't believe I got to see that with my own eyes. And when the camera cut to President Tanahashi weeping, the energy in the room just changed. It was frantic cheering and whooping, and then it cut to Tanahashi, and you could hear the collective, the whole crowd like gasped. It was just unreal. And man, that is a match that's going to be talked about for years and years to come. I don't think I've seen a match top it this year yet. That's pro wrestling right there. That's it.
In the country, give a special OTT welcome to Gio!
And also, like you mentioned before, you've seen Nightshade, you've seen Gabe Kidd. Is there any other one that you met while you were in Japan? Any story you can tell us about?
Oh man, I spent a whole day with CPF in Japan. That was real nice, with Joe Lando and Callum Newman. Just great to see how well Callum's doing. Just became the youngest ever IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champion, so super happy for Callum. He took me and Joe around this beautiful temple in Japan as well, and he was explaining the history of it. And I tell you what, it's because Callum spent so much time in Japan now, I don't think I've actually seen him since Royal Quest 3 in 2023. So between the two times I saw Callum, he's about 25 kilos bigger. He's absolutely jacked, and also just his Japanese is fantastic. He was, you know, ordering at the bars and the restaurants for us. Really cool guy. We went to a gaming arcade. I think I beat Joe Lando at air hockey, and then Callum beat me. And then we were going around one of these cool food markets, and I think Joe remembers it better than me. But there was this American tourist there with his young daughter, and he was just talking to her like an Instagram, like motivational influencer. So for the rest of the day, me and Joe just kept talking to each other, like making fun of this guy. So every time I see Joe, we talk in this weird way, and people look at us like, what the hell are these guys doing? Other stories. I stacked it up the stairs of Kurikan Hall in front of Keno and Marufuji. That was quite embarrassing. I had my smartest shoes on, and I'd shined them up real nice because it was Kurikan Hall, and I just misjudged the step. But Kai Fujimura, lovely guy, right there to help me up, and I was like, oh, sorry, thank you, sorry. I was just so embarrassed I ran away. But that doesn't dampen my memory of debuting at Kurikan Hall. When I think of Kurikan Hall, I remember all the good bits. I only remembered that just now, but I remember in the moment just thinking, of course it was in front of Marufuji and Kano.
Those will be lovely memories. Even the bump you took on the stairs. That's cool, man.
Hey, I took a bump at Kurikan Hall. What can I say?
Yeah, living the dream.
Yeah.
Now going a little bit outside of wrestling, can you tell us about your hobbies and what you usually do in your daily life?
I'll be brutally honest, at the moment, I don't really do much outside of wrestling. When it comes to the weekend, I'm normally booked wall to wall with shows. Depending where they are, I might have the morning off. I'm doing a lot of driving for shows at the moment, a lot of production meetings, and then, booked for commentary and announcing as well. Apart from when I'm booked in Wales, because Great Western Railway need to sort their stuff out. I mean, I think you might have seen on Twitter, everyone else has seen. Every time I'm booked in Wales and the show's on a Friday, my travel just gets cancelled. I've missed 3 or 4 shows in Wales. Nothing to do with me, and it breaks my heart because New Wave Wrestling is one of my favourite places to work. So, Brendan, if you're watching this, all right, I think you've got a show on the 26th of April. I'm just going to come to Wales the day before because I think at this rate it's the only way I'm going to make the show. But when I do have time for a leisurely activity, I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy. I quite like going to the clubs in London, Comedy Store, Top Secret Comedy Club, big fans of those. And recently, my lovely girlfriend and I have gotten into doing long walks. And by long walks, I mean we start in Surrey and we walk to London. So, we've done walks for 3 hours, we've done walks that are 5 hours. I'm currently suffering from the most recent one. I'm limping around. I've got these 2 ridiculous blisters from the last walk we did. And we always reward ourselves with a lovely meal at the end. And if I'm being truthful, one of my hobbies is just eating at different restaurants. I've got a dream list I'm slowly making my way through. And when we move into the new house, I think I'm going to become one of those guys that just becomes obsessed with like smoking meats. So that's what I'm looking forward to eventually.
That's great. Now, finally, you have done so much in these first maybe 4.5 months of the year. So what's next for you?
Ichiban's going to be keeping me quite busy. We've got a show coming up on this Sunday, 13th of April, back at Prism Kingston. I'll give you an exclusive as well. A show on the 11th of May is being announced as well. We've got back at Prism Kingston, we've got that to look forward to. I'm going back out to Cyprus soon to do more shows of Pro Wrestling Cyprus. That was one of the highlights of my last year as well. I've bought a new house, that's keeping me busy. It's keeping me really busy because just buying a house sucks. I mean, it's fun once you've moved in, but dealing with all the paperwork and admin is a big headache. And outside of that, I'm just keeping busy with all my announcing and commentary work. Main places to see me are Ichiban. I've got some very exciting shows coming up with WrestleForce as well. We're going to beautiful Riverside Studios in Hammersmith, a really nice venue. And I'm sure I'll be back in Tokyo this year in some capacity, and I can't wait to have some more of those 7-Eleven egg sandwiches again.
Okay, man, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure to have you, Gio. Hopefully I get to be there when you return to Tokyo or anywhere in Japan. Do you have any message for the fans watching this?
Just thank you for any love and positivity you've ever shown me, because it really is word of mouth that means the most in wrestling these days. And when people go to a show, obviously the wrestlers are always getting complimented and they're getting selfies and photos taken, and as is our job, the jobs of the broadcast team and the referees are to blend into the show. We're not meant to stand out, and when we're doing our jobs at the top level, we're not meant to be noticed, we're not meant to be seen. So when people do take the time of day to thank us publicly, it really does mean a lot, and it makes our day, it makes our week. So thank you to everyone who supports me, and keep supporting independent British wrestling. There are so many emerging stars and emerging promotions. It's looking to be a turbulent time. I don't know if anyone's been keeping up with the news and all these fun tariffs that keep getting announced, but support independent wrestling is my message.
Ok, eso ha sido todo por hoy, amigos. Hasta la próxima.